All right, so I know I will probably get a lot of flack for this, but I do have to say that first and foremost, I love the Sevan podcast. I think everything that they do as far as for the community, providing entertainment, coverage, it's by far the best coverage that you can get for CrossFit. But I think at the end of the day, they are biting more than they can chew when you look at everything that it is that they're doing. You know, looking at the Syndicate Crown competition that took place this past weekend, I am thankful that they covered it. I watched it on their stream. There really wasn't anywhere else to watch it. And from what I understand, based on, I think Hiller was saying that they were not paid for any of that. And I think that that's great. But for what that experience is, I wish that going into those kinds of events, there would be more, and again, I have to caveat by saying this. I don't know who they talked to, and I don't know what pre-work they did. I know Sevan is very experienced with what it is that he's done. I've seen it firsthand for myself years ago when I volunteered for CrossFit on the media team. I got to see behind the scenes. I got to be in the room where, everything was happening in terms of base camp for, capturing stuff at regionals and things of that nature. So I've been there. I know what he's capable of doing. I've seen it for myself, and he probably doesn't even know who I am. But they cannot carry the weight of CrossFit Media on their own shoulders. It's just not possible. I think there are a lot of other very talented individuals that I think contribute very well to the experience that needs to be captured. And I think there are so many people that are coming up within the space that should be telling more stories. We need Talking Elite Fitness. We need Clydesdale Media. We need Sevan Podcast. We need Amanda Hari. I think it's Hari. I don't know what her name is, but we need all these individuals. But at the same time, if everybody's coming through the lens of Sevan and everything is happening on the Sevan podcast, I think we're limiting ourselves in regards to the reach that we might have. We all need our own channels to talk about what's going on in the world of CrossFit, talk about CrossFit products, talk about CrossFit, leaderboard drama, whatever the case may be, news, updates, whatever. And I've kind of shied away from that, I think, for years now, from when I first started my channel. I had the This Week in CrossFit series that I would talk about, on a weekly basis. Hey, this is what's going on, products, news, whatever. And I'm going to get back to doing that stuff because I think that we are now in a space within CrossFit Media where we're back to the grassroots. We don't have things, we don't have the funding for these major events that we used to have in the past, as can be noted by Syndicate Crown, where Sevan and gang went to Tennessee or whatever it is to live broadcast the event and weren't paid for it. But we also, again, need individuals like Amanda Hari to go, I think, who should be, I would say, invested in by larger brands and larger companies to go out and cover these events as well. I think she has the experience to help these brands. If I'm not mistaken, she works in the media broadcasting space professionally day to day. So she has the know-how and can provide the knowledge that a lot of these other events could tap into. And I'm going to get back into it as well. I think, I need to figure out how I'm going to structure the series and the show and how I'm going to do things moving forward. But, I'm going to get back into it. I am getting into it again. And I'm going to provide you guys with that because I think we need more voices in the space. I think there's opportunity for more voices in the space. We don't know what's going to happen, within CrossFit. And CrossFit really isn't talking. Don Fall isn't really talking about what's going on, in the same way. Or I don't even want to say what's going on, but he's not leading from the front in the same way that I would say, Greg Glassman was when, he was at the helm. And so, somebody's got to do it. Some people have to do it. More people have to do it. Gyms should be doing it. Gyms should be creating their own media, talking about, what's going on within their worlds and for their members, addressing and putting out their perspectives, for, all these different events and things that are taking place. Obviously there's High Rocks, and not a lot of gyms are addressing that per se from the perspective of what their members might want to know, or I don't know, Ironman. There's so many different things that you can talk about. I can talk about. We all can talk about, and we can put our voices on and really share with the community and build the foundation, be the foundation of the community. Because I think at this point in time, the CrossFit that we knew is not coming back. It's the same thing with skateboarding. There's these 20-year cycles, and I think maybe you could even argue and say that CrossFit is, on its 20-year cycle, to where there's going to be highs and lows in the industries. There's going to be times where a ton of money is being poured into the space, and times where it's going to be bone dry. And I think right now it's bone dry. Look at all the different companies that are in the space now versus 2018, 2016. I remember going to regionals and the invitationals. When I went to regionals, when I was volunteering for regionals and the invitationals, we would get free kits. We would get free stuff. I got free shoes, free nanos. I got free, apparel. Obviously, we would get grab bags of stuff at these events. I did my level 1 this year, and I didn't even get a T-shirt. I got discounts for these stores and stuff like that. But we're not in a space to where there's a lot of things going on or money coming into the space as it was in previous times. And it's sad. It's really unfortunate, and it's sad because I think it's important for this space to continue to exist. I think especially for CrossFit, the message that it is proclaiming, I think, is evergreen. It's fighting chronic disease, and it's showcasing human performance in ways that have never been done before. Bodybuilding doesn't showcase it in this way. Powerlifting doesn't showcase it in this way. And High Rocks doesn't. Triathlons don't. Ironmans don't. None of it. And so I think we have an opportunity as content creators, as personal brands, athletes, whatever, coaches, to make more shit, make good shit, make top-notch shit, make memorable shit, and cover shit that's important. And I think that's my responsibility, especially now that I have my CrossFit level 1, to really speak about what's going on, to give my perspective, and to do it in the ways that I think are really important. So that's my spiel for today. I think, again, I appreciate what it is that the Sevan and the gang do. I think they do a really bang up job covering shit that's happening in the CrossFit space, but we need more of an ecosystem. I feel like right now it's an echo chamber with the voices that are present. I think, again, more creators need to come out of the woodwork and talk about what's going on. More athletes, I think, need to invest in their own media. The Boys Interrupted podcast, I think, is a great space. I think more athletes could do the same thing. There isn't any reason why the NBA has so many offshoot media, shows, micro shows and things of that nature. Why can't CrossFit have the same thing? Why can't we have, a million different podcasts or whatever the case may be? That's just my thought, my ideas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this yap session. But again, like I said, I'm making more content. We're getting back into it. I'm going to create the content that I know you guys really liked back in the day, because I liked it too. I still look back and I'm like, shit, that shit was top notch. I was doing stuff then that people are doing now that they should have been doing, and I'm not going to say that I deserve the credit or that I'm the godfather, but this shit's in my DNA and I know how to do it, and we're going to get back to it. So with that, guys, as always, may your barbells be heavy and your coffee be black. This is David, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.